There we are. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Here I am trying to make sure I've got all the things right because, of course, I was on the wrong one. And I'm like, why isn't this working? Okay, so we should be here. We should be here. We should be there. Looks like everything is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think so. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yay. This is Robin, of course, from Roaming with Rover. And we have a special guest with us today. This is Miss Cheryl from Me, You, and Yarn. And I said your name wrong
everyone.
The other day when I was talking about us, because you know me. But now I'm going to make sure that I have it in the description box correctly. This is our knit along. This is our weekly knit along update. There's some people popping in. Hello, Miss Shatika. Miss Cheryl, for those of you who do not know, is the one. She has been, this is her first time on camera with us, but she has been with us since the word go. And I will tell you what, I could not have figured most of this stuff out had it not been for Miss Cheryl. She has been the one who's been fixing stuff for us and showing us easier way to do things. And every time I show you a picture of how beautiful something looks and how great something is, it's been Miss Cheryl's that's been the project I'm showing you guys. So she's been the one that's been holding my hand through this whole process, let me tell you. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the knitting square, where we're at this week and what we're doing. And then we're going to have, as promised, the announcement about our make along, our shawls. And I know that you guys are waiting for that. And you guys may have noticed that I have a different background because I told y'all that we're cleaning out the RV, still getting rid of Texas grit and dirt. And boy, is it yucky. But I decided this morning, because I needed some room to move around to show you guys some stuff. And so I moved some things out here to the RV. So this is what the setup is going to be once we get moved out here in a couple of weeks. So I'm sitting in the RV this morning and I'm cold. I'm going to have to grab my sweater real quick. I was too hot. I took off my sweater. I should have known better. But
That's like you need a shawl.
I do need a shawl. That's exactly what I need. I should make one. What a good idea. What a good idea. But yeah, so this is going to be, and this right here at this very table is where I spent probably 4 years while we were on the road. Well, and more than that, because I lived in this RV while I was in Utah training at the hospital. So Mr. lived up here in Washington. It was a different motorhome. You're right. Would you hand me my sweater as long as you're up? I forgot about that. That was the bad motorhome. But same setup. I still had a table just like this. And so I sat at the table and worked all day long while I was I lived in Utah, and we had it parked in an RV campground kind of thing. And he was still up here in Washington with the house, and we had four teenage boys exchange students
from China. Wow.
That spoke very little English. There was 2 from China, 1 from Taiwan, and 1 from Indonesia. And he was up taking care of them. So we we took on all those boys, and then I left.
Smart move.
Smart move. Yeah, very smart. And so I have spent a lot of time working at a table just like this. And I'll tell you what, I've got more space now at this little table than I do in the house where I'm trying to work. But it's not going to take me long to fill this thing up. I'm very, very excited about moving out here and having this as Dana would say, as a yarn bus. But it's not going to be completely a yarn bus, because we do have to be able to go places. So I won't be able to completely take it over. But I'm getting pretty excited to get it set up so that I can do my filming out here. And boy, it literally took us 10 minutes to move the basic stuff out here that I needed, and
excellent.
a pile of wires and stuff here, and just get a few things, get the stuff that I need to show today is right here within arm's length. And this is going to be nice. This is going to be nice. We're still getting it cleaned. I've got some professional cleaners coming next week to deep clean, and try to get about 10 more layers of Texas dirt out of here. And you wouldn't believe, you guys, we have cleaned and cleaned and cleaned and cleaned, and it's like we've never touched it. So I'm hoping that they can do some kind of miracle to get it out. But we took literally everything out of here. We lived in this thing for 4 years, so it's just like a full house of stuff. We took everything out and took it in the house and separated it, and I threw away so much stuff, and kept a lot of things in the house because extra shampoos and extra this and extra that need to be in the house so it gets used up. And so I'll bring maybe a quarter or a third. It still has to have pots and pans and silverware and dishes and things. That stuff will come back out. Yeah, so it's ready to go when we go camping, go for a weekend. Miss Morgan can drive it, so if she wants to go, I don't think she can't park it yet, but Mr. will teach her how to do that. So if she wants to take it for a weekend and go, she can do that. And so,
hey, Nisi.
Hello, Nisi. So I'm getting excited about that, what I call the big move. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be getting moved out here. And it's going to be comfy out here, and it's going to really clear up space in the house, because I don't have an extra room. A lot of folks have an extra bedroom or something, and we don't have that. So it's all, everything is just everywhere in there. So that's the big excitement for this. So let's talk about the knitting. All right. So this was our bye week. This was our off week. So there was no blocks that needed to be made. And what I spent the week doing was blocking everything up. I steam blocked everything. Even the one that I had already put together. Look at this. Look how much nicer that looks. The one that I had already put together. I couldn't believe the difference. And it just took a little bit of steam blocking, which I had never done before until
it's really easy
really?
to do.
I am going to splurge and buy me one of those little steamers. Because working with the iron was fine, but I can see having a nice little steamer just for this would be so much easier. So
I very rarely block. I wouldn't even bother blocking these if it wasn't for showing them on camera and taking pictures. I wouldn't. I just don't block very much at all. I'll probably block the shawl initially, again for the pictures, and then after that, if it's for me, I don't bother. I really don't bother. You can kill block acrylic, and you can do it in such a way that it doesn't distort the pattern or flatten the pattern. But you have to be really careful with doing that. It's easy enough. I don't even bother doing that. I don't care enough. I don't care enough for it being edges being, perfectly straight. And so this is the next one, and see how mine curves in.
Oh,
By the time I get the border on it, it's going to pop out. So I'm not going to. And that's because it's a rib, and that's what ribs do. Ribs curl in.
Yeah,
but once I get the border on it and you join it to another square, you're not going to see it. And so that's why I probably won't block until, if I do, it'll be at the very end. But I'm blocking each of these squares as we go along, just so people can see how it should look.
Now, what did you call that? What kind of blocking did you call that?
Kill blocking.
Jewel?
Kill, Kill.
Still
Yeah.
blocking. And what is that process? I haven't heard of that either.
You use Raja cloth, which is what dry cleaners use. And you push the steam through that cloth into your fabric, and it will hold its shape even after washing. Because after you wash something, you have to reblock it. But this doesn't. And it's a gentle way of doing it because you don't actually touch the iron onto the acrylic, so it's not going to melt. But it's just enough to hold it in place without flattening your puff stitches and all that sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find the video. It's another Australian lady I heard this from, and she does it on sort of points of little cardigans that she makes for babies, where it sort of puckers up a bit. It's a very easy process. I have a Raja cloth. I've never used it because, like I said, I don't care enough.
Yeah.
And the things that I usually make are blankets. And no one's blocking a blanket every time they wash it.
Yeah. No. Good Lord, no. Unless you've got something like a shawl with a whole bunch of lace work, or I made a shawl for, was it last year? It was a crochet along, I want to say spring, and now I'm not 100% sure. But it was made out of fingering weight yarn, and I did not even realize I didn't even realize it was fingering weight until I was done, and I went to tell somebody what kind of yarn it was, and I'm like, oh, this was fingering, because it was one of those yarns where it was 4 or 5 different colors stacked on a thing, and I did not realize it was fingering weight yarn. It was beautiful yarn, and it worked up lovely, but every row was, it was funny because I ran across the picture yesterday. It was so pretty. It was very, very pretty, but it definitely should have been blocked. It should have been blocked. But it was one of those things where I finished it just in time to give it to the person. And I should have taken the extra. It needed to be blocked. It would have looked so different if it had been blocked. Just opening all of that work up would have made all the difference. Yeah.
Nisi, no, you can't do the kill blocking with a tea towel. It actually needs the Raja cloth because of the chemicals. They're not harmful chemicals or anything like that. Babies can wear it quite easily. That it impregnates into the fabric of the knitted piece. Oh my gosh, I lost my words.
Oh, you and me.
So for something like this, it would hold it open, but it wouldn't flatten it. So you'd still see all of the bumps and ridges in it, and it just holds it there. Whereas kill blocking will melt it and flatten it, and it'll just turn into a mess. Yeah, a matted mess.
Well, let me tell you what I did before I knew what I was doing. I made this giant blanket, and it was huge. And I made a whole bunch of tiny blocks, and they were smaller than these. Well, they might have been I think they were either 4x4 or 6x6. And and this is why I won't do Tunisian crochet, because I killed my brain with this thing. So I made I think I made 250 blocks, and then I had to crochet them all together. And Tunisian, it just rolls up in a ball, those edges. Well, I asked a friend of mine who does Tunisian all the time. I says, okay, what do I do with it? She goes, oh, just iron them flat. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I did. I got my tea towel, and I put my block on the thing, and I put my tea towel over the top of it, and I ironed them flat, and I killed the fabric. It has no bounce to it. It's flat, and so the fabric itself, the blanket itself has no give, no puff, nothing. It's flat, but the design is awesome, and my family loves it, but I ruined the fabric. And then I crocheted all those edges together, and I did a border. I put a lot of dang work into that thing, and it turned out beautiful. And I can't show anybody because what I did was I made it into like it was a crossword puzzle of the names of the family name and every member of the family.
Wow, that sounds fantastic.
It was, and it was a lot of work. And my daughter is very, very, very private, so I can't put I can't show it to anybody because of all of their names. So, but it's beautiful. It is beautiful, except that I ruined the fabric. And boy, and even when I was doing it, I'm like, I don't like the way this is working. And she, she didn't say to steam it, which would have been fine. She said to iron it.
Yes.
And I didn't know. I didn't know. Boy, I do now. If I'd have done this, it would have looked beautiful. Would have looked beautiful. So I did. I ironed. I steamed every one of my blocks, and I cannot believe the difference in how they look. Just absolutely gorgeous. They are not the same size by a long shot. I mean, look at the difference here. This thing is an inch bigger.
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter at all.
And you guys know every single one of my blocks has a mistake in it, so I don't care. I have never.
If it does become a problem, you can always just go around again with some.
Yeah, and that's what I'll do
to make it up to size.
Thing together. I have never worked on a problem where I cared less how it looks, how it turns out, than this thing. Boy, the colors are pretty though.
They are. They're lovely.
Yeah, and this will look like this. This is the kind of a project that will end up on the back of the couch out here in the motorhome. So this week that's coming up, we are doing the diagonal rib, which is this one. I got mine done. So this is the one we're supposed to be working on this week. We would be starting it right now. I got mine done. I loved it. This was one. So before I told you my favorite block was, I liked the diamond one really a lot.
Yes.
This one was my favorite block before. Well, now this one was my favorite. Well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I really, really liked it. Mine turned out good. I like the way it turned out. Did I do the right one? Just the diagonal rib?
Yes.
Okay.
So just the way the light was hitting it, I couldn't see like it's a little bobble.
So yeah, this is so when you guys do this week's block, this is the way it's supposed to work. And it's like always, like all of them, it's very easy to follow the pattern. It is there's not as much jumping back and forth like on a lot of them. It's basically 12 rows, 10, 12. I know there's more than 10. I don't know, however many rows it is. You just go down it and then you jump back up and go down and jump back up. There's a little bit of, this, row 8 is repeating row 6. Row 9 is repeating row 7, but not as much. I think that's where I get mixed up on things. I think when I'm doing that jumping back and forth is where I'm messing things up. Now, just to make sure y'all know, I stayed true to form, and I did mess up, and I have no idea how. And of course, you can't see these mistakes. At least I can't see these mistakes till I'm 3 or 4 rows past, and I ain't ripping it out. So here's my mistake, because I always make sure and show you my mistakes. There's my mistake right right there. There's a line. There's a line. Yes. No idea what I did. But, and it's very, you can see it clearly when you see it in person.
Probably did some knits where it was supposed to be a pearl.
Yeah. But
it's easy enough to do.
Again, ask me if I care.
Yeah.
Not even a little. So, and just to show y'all, let me find one that's at least these things definitely grow after you block them also. Look at the difference between this one is blocked and this one is not blocked. Look how much nicer they look. I just cannot believe the difference. And especially, I think especially this pattern. Because like you're saying, everything is ribbed, which draws it in. And I cannot believe I did that. I'm so angry. Because I was really, really proud of this one. because there's a definite design in there, and it was looking so good. And then I did that silly thing.
You could possibly do a duplicate stitch over the error to what it's supposed to be.
Don't care. Don't care. But look at this. Look at this. We are getting some stuff done here. That's a lot. I was kind of feeling like, huh?
Almost halfway.
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of feeling like, oh my gosh. Oh. And then when I put them all together and did the blocking, and I got my stack, and I'm like, wow, we're making some progress here. So this is what you're going to make this week. Mine was gold, and I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And I am, as I finish it up, I don't even put it down. I switched to the crochet hook. And the other thing I did do is I switched to a smaller, I was using a bigger crochet hook. I switched to a smaller crochet hook because it was giving it a lot of this. So I switched to a smaller crochet hook for my edging. And so I go around the whole thing with a single crochet, then a half double crochet, and then I switch to that border color, and I do my double crochet one row with the double crochet. And then it is in the pile and ready for the next one.
Excellent.
So, it's getting there. It is getting there. So Jennifer and Nisi, are you guys doing this? Yes, the Turbulent Sky Shell. That was the one. That was the cow that we did. That was beautiful, wasn't it? It was. I had a little problem following along on her instructions. And it was because I couldn't always see where she was putting her crochet hook.
Yes.
And that, if I can't see where you're putting your hook and I don't have written instructions, how am I supposed to know what's going on?
It's hard when you're doing tutorials. I don't know the lady who did, or the person who did the Turbulent Skies one, but it can be hard when you're doing a tutorial, to get the angle just right so that the viewer can see where it's going, where the hook's going, because we tend to have the camera above here, so you're looking flat, but you really need to be looking at an angle to see where it's all going.
I know a couple of times I sent her a picture with a circle, and I'm like, where do I put my hook? She was super nice about responding and saying, no, not there, right here.
Yes.
So, but okay, now let's get real. Really, what difference would it have made? But again,
well,
and sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. On some stitches it does, but on that particular one, it would not have made a difference.
But it's knowing the when. It's knowing the when. Like, if you don't know the stitch, then it's hard to know, can I just fudge this? Or do I really need to put it where it goes, where they say it goes?
Oh, yay. I'm so glad, Jennifer. So Jennifer has signed up for the Traveling Box of Joy. That is so fun. So fun.
What is a Traveling Box of Joy?
So, the gal's name is Cynthia. And what's her channel? Jennifer, do you remember?
Is she from My Joyful Creations?
Maybe. Do you remember the name of her channel? Cynthia, or it could be. That sounds right. Let me see. I just watched. In fact, I put the video that she made of my joy box opening. I put it in my community page. I shared it. It was cute, but so it shouldn't be too far down. Oh, there's Stephen West showing off his latest creation. Cynthia's Joyful Creations. Cynthia's Joyful Creations is the name of her channel, and she's just a sweetheart.
She's lovely.
I want to say she's in Florida, Georgia, one of them there states, far away from me. But she put together this box, And it's the large flat rate box. So I'm going to make this a different size here. So I can make there. It's a large flat rate box. So it's about this big by this big. And you can put whatever you want in. You put as much as you want in it. And it's supposed to go, my understanding of the flat rate boxes is you're supposed to be able to put as much as you want in it and send it off for a flat rate. Thus the name. But I know that when I mailed it off, I didn't pay the same as the lady that mailed it to me because the amount of postage is right on it. Hi, Knit and Crochet. Good morning. So so what you do is you get on her list, and it's fun. She's got a playlist on her channel of the people, because I think I was only like the 5th one to get it this time. And she had done this a few years ago, and I'll tell you what happened then. But she had done this a few years ago. So you get on her list, and she tells you, okay, the box is coming to you. And so when I got the box, I had forgotten that it was coming, and it had Mara's name and address on it. I'm like, why is Mara sending me a box? Because usually, I mean, once in a while, somebody will send you something. Mr. Steve sent me some lovely yarn, but usually they'll say, hey, there's something coming for you. And you're like, oh, goody. And you're watching for it. But I'm like, why is Mara sending me this giant box? And I'm like, oh, it's the box. So you open the box, but you can't show it. You can't show it on video or anything. And there's a sheet of instructions inside, and you take out what you want, and then you replace it with like items, similar value items. So for instance, if I took out yarn, I would replace it with some yarn. And I was a little surprised that there was way more stuff than just yarn. And that kind of surprised me. But it was so fun. It was so fun. And, so then you repack it up and put the instruction sheet back in it and let her know that you're ready to, and then she gives you the name and address of the next person so that she can tell the next person, okay, it's coming, and then you ship it off. So then you make a video, or if you don't do videos, you just take pictures of the different items that you took out and you send it off to her. And then there's a handful of questions that you answer, and it's simple things. It's like, where are you from and how long have you been doing your craft, and tell us something that people don't know. Well, I took the opportunity to tell people about the yarn shop, since that's something most people don't know about me.
What yarn shop would that be?
Well, you guys know I work on the weekends at my sister's craft store, and we have decided she has given me a corner to open a little yarn shop inside of there. So it's her yarn shop, but I'm managing. I'm doing all the procuring. I have a hard time with that word. That's procuring. I'm getting the yarn together. And so it's going to be a very tiny local yarn store. It's almost as if it was a booth inside of somebody's business. A regular old local yarn store. We're going to have, I know, I'm so excited. I'm going to have two kinds of yarn. Hello, Shirley. We're going to have Cascade yarn. We're going to have ice yarn. We're going to have all the things. We're going to have basic notions. We're going to have, not basic, we're going to have cute notions, special notions. We're going to have, I've got somebody doing hand painted yarn bowls. So like you can have them painted, like if you've got a sports team or, things like that. We're doing handmade, notions bags. If I can figure it out, I found the quilt store here. I did take a picture. It's not a great picture because there's a lot of stuff around it, but I'll explain it to you. And I love the idea. So do you guys, anybody, Jennifer, this is probably a thing for you. Nope, wrong. Maybe. Are you the right Jennifer? So you go to the games, you go to the hockey matches, you go to the football, you go to the soccer field. And here we have to take a clear bag. It has to be a see-through bag now.
Oh, okay.
So look at this bag, and there's a pattern for it. I'm going to do solo. there's a pattern for it. And she said it's fairly easy. Now, I haven't sewn in a while, but can you all see that? They call it, it's called a stadium bag. So that's vinyl. So I'm thinking we can do this in, again, the team colors, but also that's great for project bags too. So you can see what you got in there. So I'm excited to do that. I want to learn how to work with that vinyl. I have a friend who sews very, very well. And the lady said the biggest trick with this is just getting used to making your stitches farther apart so you don't perforate.
Yes.
We
used to make I Spy bags with those. So an I Spy bag was just a cushion with a circular vinyl, clear vinyl, and beads inside, like almost like white styrofoam. And then you put little objects in there, and the kids have to feel around and find all the objects that are in there and write them down. I used to have a sheet with the words in, well, Queensland beginners font for the young kids to trace over when they found, say, a car. So they'd have to find car on the list and then trace over the word car and match them all up. See if they, and then they knew if they'd found everything that was on the list. So yeah, so it's not hard to work with. You just need a sharper needle to pierce it.
Yeah, a special needle. That makes sense.
No, not special. Just one of the sharp ones. You don't use like one for jeans that are blunt.
Okay.
Yeah, something easy to pierce. But yeah, it's easy enough to. So.
And then my sister makes mugs. You guys have seen. Oh, it's right here. Hold on. Only hers are nicer than this one. I got this one as a gift, but it was the gal who made it for me. She was just learning. But so cups that you can have the sayings on like this. And so my sisters are nicer. And we can even have them personalized. So lots of really cool things like that. And there's going to be a video dropping maybe tonight, probably tomorrow. We'll see. Because I didn't realize I have to work this afternoon. And so I got my first batch of yarn. And you guys are going to get to see some of it. I've got some of it here. We're going to show you guys some of it here in a minute. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, Shirley. I don't make them. I'm told I'm going to be taught, though, because if we're going to get personalized orders, they're not going to have time to do. So I'm going to be doing the personalized ones. So I get to learn how to do that. I'm really excited. But we got our first order in from Cascade Yarn, and it's really nice yarn. But so I've got, I made a video yesterday. I still got to put it together and drop it. So you guys are going to be the first ones to see some of this yarn. It's really nice yarn. I'm very happy with it. And
so when are you hoping to own this? When are you hoping to open the store?
The yarn is for sale right now because I'm anticipating that a good portion of our sales will be online. I have somebody building the website right now. I was hoping it would be done sooner, but this poor lady, and you guys all know life, right? Her and her husband's mothers both ended up in the hospital, different hospitals on the same day. So their life was in uproar for about 2 weeks, but now she's back at it. So she's building my website, but I'm hoping to have a fully functioning website up in about a month. But right now, I mean, you guys know me, I can make sales because of my own business. So I can make sales already. So as I show you guys stuff, anything that you want to buy, I can sell it. I can get it shipped out. As long as I've got product, I can go. And because we're an official wholesaler of this company, anything that the company sells, we can get and send it out to you. Right. Because unfortunately, as much as I would have liked to, we could not order. We ordered a tiny, tiny bit of what they offer in the store. So tiny bit. Boy, that was tough. because my list to start with was this big, and then when everything was said and done, it was this big.
I think you have to be someone like All Warehouse to be able to get one of everything.
Oh my
or
Lord.
more than one of everything. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So let's talk about what our big announcement is. Do you want to go first?
No.
Okay. All right. So we got feedback from this knitting thing. I got a lot of feedback, and I'm so glad to get the feedback, because if we don't get feedback on projects that we're doing, we don't know. And most of these projects just come out of our little brain and we go, I've got a great idea. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't.
It's not.
So this idea, some people, a lot of people found this project to be too easy. Some of us found this project to be too hard, surprisingly. Those of you who knit went, I'm done, next. Those of us who don't knit went, this is too hard, I can't do this. And thankfully we had Cheryl holding our hand through the whole process. And I have learned a lot from this process. I don't love this process. I don't love this project, but I love the process because I've learned a ton. And if it wasn't for Cheryl, I would have thrown this in the garbage long ago. And people like Jennifer who don't knit have gone, I need something to do. Give me something to do. I'm bored. So Miss Cheryl and I put our little heads together and came up with a tag on project for this. I was going to dump it. I thought nobody's doing this. Everybody hates it. And then when I suggested dumping it, everybody went, no. I was surprised at how many people were in the background actually doing this that just had never said anything. So, luckily the day I suggested stopping it, they were right there going, no, we're still doing this. We want to continue. Don't drop it. I'm like, okay, I won't. So it's no big deal, Shirley. You can start it now if you want. You probably won't enjoy it. We've got this. You're going to enjoy. So this is what we came up with. Cheryl and I have each designed a shawl. It's you'd call yours a lightweight shawl too, wouldn't you?
No.
Okay.
No. Mine's more a winter.
I wanted mine to be a spring, fall. Where I live, the summer evenings are cool. It can be 90 degrees at noon and 60 at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. So I never go anywhere without a sweater. Or it'll be 80 degrees outside and you'll walk into a building and they've got the AC cranked up and I'm freezing. So you'll rarely see me in a sleeveless shirt because every time I go into a building, I'm freezing to death. So I wanted something to toss on, fairly lightweight, spring fall type weight of a shawl. And mine is crochet. Miss Cheryl is doing a knit shawl. Oh, and mine is a rectangle. Miss Cheryl is doing a knit shawl. And this kind of sort of started because the knit people wanted something a little more challenging than these squares. And we sort of started looking around, and the Stephen West Boneyard shawl was suggested. Texas winter, yes, Texas winter is. And I'll tell you what, I spent a lot of time in Texas, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But the AC in those buildings are killer too. You're dying outside, but you walk into the buildings and you're freezing. So exactly the same, Shirley. So we had looked at the Boneyard shawl, and it's a lovely shawl. Did you guys know that is Stephen West's first project? It was his very first design that he put out.
Yes.
Now, here's the problem. When you
boring. It's boring.
It is.
You'll be
It is
bored
boring.
with it.
I think, and
It's
we thought,
two
we looked at it.
stitches.
There's 2 stitches, and we thought you guys would get just as bored of it. But here's the problem. When you do somebody else's project, just like this project that we're doing now is somebody else's project, I cannot do a tutorial on this because it's somebody else's project. I cannot even show you how to do a certain thing because it's somebody else's project. It's somebody else's pattern. It's somebody else's project. I can't do any video of while I'm sitting here working on it. All I can do is show you a finished piece, tell you what I've done, and link you to her videos or link to her pattern. Now, I learned all of this because of my crochet along last year when I did Ophelia Makes. I did the Lizzie shawl, and I followed the rules exactly, and I had her permission to do that. And the reason she gave me her permission is because I followed the rules, and I linked to her tutorials, and I linked to her videos, and she gave me her blessing. She came on our show and did an interview because I'm very respectful of my guests and I follow the rules. So we don't break the rules here. Now, if we had done the Stephen West shawl, we couldn't even have shown you how to do something if there was a problem. If you got stuck on something, we couldn't have helped you with it. So,
no. But again, Stephen's one is a very basic one, and I'm not trying to put down on his very first shawl, but it is very basic. If you were very, very new to knitting and only knew stocking stitch, like a knit or a purl stitch, a knit and a purl, then it would be perfect. You'd have a finished product. But it does become very repetitive, which is what you need when you're first learning. But if we're finding the anthology cowl just a bit too repetitive and boring, then a whole shawl in like 36 inches of stockinette stitch, you're going to be bored with it as well. So my original plan was just to replace a couple of the V's that were stocking stitch with a little pattern, and it grew from there. It grew from there into.
But that's not how
totally
Cheryl rolls.
No,
that's not how Cheryl rolls.
So it's totally different. The start is different. The increase method's different. I think the only thing that's similar is the spine stitched down the middle, but even that's a bit
different. And it's
different.
a triangle.
It's a triangle, yes, basic shape. So can I show some of the stitches?
Let me make you big.
Okay, so I haven't finished knitting my prototype, but this is what I've got so far. It's all folded up so that you can see. So this is coming up to the top, and some of these are my stitches that I've modified from a regular stitch, so you won't find them in a pattern book.
Oh my Lord. So she's creating stitches as well.
This one, and then this tends to be, here we go. This is my separator. So there's a couple of rows of stockinette. Then there's something that looks like a chain stitch across there. And this one is the B stitch, which is very, very easy. All of these stitches are easy. I will do tutorials. Then we've got the separator again. And I'm not sure if this one will show up, but this is the star stitch.
That is so
I really, really like this one. And we go down, we've got a bit of eyelet work, and then some slip stitch work down to the bottom. And I haven't done the edging yet. So I've called my shawl Falling into Winter, because it's coming into fall now, although it's fall now here in Australia, coming into winter. So I'm falling into winter. So it's a thicker, this is in a worsted weight yarn, and it'll be nice and snuggly. So I thought, because I knew Robin was doing one for autumn, spring, I thought I'll do one for the other for winter, basically, when it's the edge of either side of winter as well. Yeah.
So now you're using a worsted weight, and we have
At the moment,
stunning worsted weight yarn that we're going to be selling. That we are selling, and it's called Pacific. And this one happens to be one that I'm going to be making a sweater out of. I should just open it and show you how beautiful this is. I didn't want to open it in here because it's still so dirty in here. But yeah, I'm not going to. It's just so dirty in here. And it's the Cascade Pacific, and this is our worsted weight. It's 60% acrylic, 40% superwash merino. So you've got, this is called Blue Iris, and it doesn't show up on camera, but it's not really a shimmer, but it almost has like a shimmer to it. But it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous color. And this comes in probably 35 different colors, if not more. And this is machine washable. So this can go right into the washer and dryer. It is 100 grams, 213 yards. And it has a beautiful, beautiful feel to it. This is an anti-pilling. And let me double check. I've got my price sheet. I made sure I brought that in because it's got the luxury of that of the wool in that, but the ease of the acrylic. So we're selling those for only $8.50 a ball, and I can ship that anywhere in the U.S. So, and again, we have probably 10, 12 colors, I think, in the shop. But and I've got links in the description box right to that color, right to the Pacific. But we can get any of the colors in for you. And it just takes a couple of days.
So the yarn that I used for this prototype, which I really liked, isn't one of Robin's ones, because I didn't know she was doing that at the time. But so I'm using Nako Mona Lisa.
That is a lovely yarn too.
And it's lovely and soft. It's an anti-pilling one. When excuse me, when we actually start the knit along, it's basically a knit at your own pace. But I'm going to use an Australian one in a DK weight, which is Fiddlesticks.
Isn't that a fun name?
And actually, that color is probably true. It's
let me make you big again so we can set it.
Okay.
That is a beautiful. It's almost I was going to say clay, but it's not that dark.
No, it's I'm terrible with color names. I really am, and sometimes I can't even tell if it's a grey or a beigey color. Yeah. So I'm going to do it in the DK weight and see how that one goes.
That's going to be so pretty.
I'm happy with how it's turned out. It's been. Well, we only thought of this 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this has been quick.
quick.
I am not nearly as far along as she is. I'll tell you what. But I've been busy setting up a store.
Yes, Shirley, it does look like putty. That's exactly what it looks like.
Very light putty. That's exactly right, Shirley. Yeah. So if you knit and you want to do that, now, Cheryl swears if you're a beginning knitter like me, a baby knitter, a baby knitter, that we're still going to be able to do this because she's going to hold our hand through the whole thing.
I will. Not a baby. You need to be a Dora the Explorer baby. You're adventurous. You want to do more.
I do want to do more. I always think I can do more than my abilities.
Shirley, I'm using a 6mm needle for this weight yarn. I tried a 5 and a 5.5, and they were just too dense. So I've gone for a 6mm, but on the row where the chain happens, I actually use a 4mm needle. So at times you'll be using 2 needles, and I'll explain why in the video that I do. You don't have to, but it just looks a little nicer because of what happens in the following row. Jennifer, if you know how to do a knit and a purl, just keep practicing. You'll get it. You will get it.
And that's why I did this. That's why I did this knit along, because I knew if I didn't do something like this, all I was ever going to do is a plain old stockinette blanket. And I wanted to grow. Now, this maybe wasn't the best pattern to pick, but I have grown, haven't I, Cheryl? I've grown.
You have a lot.
And this is ugly and it's full of mistakes. And, you know, and I say this over and over again. Do y'all remember there was, you guys know who, oh my Lord, why can't I think of her name? Country singer, Reba McEntire.
Well, yes.
Several years ago, she did a video. And in the video, she was going to school and her kid had spilled coffee on a paper. And the instructor said something about, you know, the paper's full of mistakes and messes. And she said, I learned more from the mistakes than I did from the paper.
Yes.
And that's the way I feel about this project. This project is a mess, but I have learned more from my mistakes on this thing than I have from the project. And yeah, absolutely. Jennifer, I'm going to tell you, I don't think that this shawl is necessarily your starting project.
No.
But I'm
just trying to think who's the good someone who teaches knitting from
Richards, something Richards.
Roxanne Richardson.
Roxanne Richardson. I love her.
I do too. But I don't know about whether she shows you how to actually start.
Little Pink Knits.
Little Pink Knits, yes, definitely.
Little Pink Knits.
Stacey from Little Pink Knits.
She slows everything down.
Yeah. Yes, she's a good one.
She's very, very good.
I had planned at some stage to do that, to do how to cast on. So, Jennifer, do you crochet at all?
Yes, she crochets.
I'm assuming so.
The crochet cast on. That's what I do.
Crochet cast on just to get the stitches onto the needle, because if they're not on the needles, you can't do anything. And then, yes, check out Stacey from Little Pink Knits.
Yep, Little Pink
Knits. She's been around a long time.
And she's got everything. She's got playlists from picking up your first yarn and your first needle to advanced stitches. Yes. And
Shirley, is that for knitting or for crocheting that you like to use written patterns?
Yep. Oh, that's interesting. Taught you on your finger. Nice. And
so there will be a written pattern for mine. There will be a written pattern for mine that will be, I'm going to set up a Me, You and Yarn Ravelry page, and it's a free it'll be a free download. I finished the pattern pieces. I haven't sort of compiled them all together. So once I've done that, I'll put it up. Excuse me, a bit croaky here. I'll put it up and you can, all the abbreviations, all the stitches, and then I will do some tutorials as well for some of the stitches where it's not clear where you need to put your knitting needle. The bee stitch in particular is one like that. It's knit in the row below, but depending on how you're looking at it, you can go into the wrong place, and it's one of those ones that it does matter because it will change the look of the stitch. Yes, I'm very much the same, Shirley. I prefer to read a manual than to read the manual first and then watch a video if it's not clear.
Yeah, I'll go to a video. Like, for instance, with the Sophie's Universe, it's got that lovely, lovely book, and every page is a different row. But I still found there was a couple of times where I needed to go to the video to see exactly where she started something.
Yeah.
but most of the time I prefer a written pattern.
And I don't like charts. I never work off a chart. I will, if there's a pattern that I'm interested in that is only in chart form, I'll transcribe it out to written instructions, and just use the chart as a visual guide. Like, does what I've knit kind of look like the chart? But I never knit off a chart. I find them redundant because you have to write. Like if there's a gap of 25 stitches between this and that, you have to write 25 stitches on the chart.
Yeah.
And then on the next row, it might be different, and it
Yeah.
might be different. And I think you're just basically writing out the pattern anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do. I'm trying to learn how to read charts because I have thought that might take away the problem of, oh, this is where I put my needle right here. And this is the stitch that I need to do. It doesn't?
No.
Oh,
Oh, no. It doesn't tell you where to put. It just says something like knit one below. Okay, well, where do you go?
Oh.
There's just an abbreviation for knit one below, and you're supposed to know what to do. You look at the abbreviation list and it'll tell you what to do, but the chart itself won't. Yes. No.
Yeah.
And a chart for a triangular shawl is quite
Complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that would be. You've got to count those, because I want to know how many stitches I should have. Yeah. And again, surely you're exactly right. Just like with a pattern, it depends on who creates it, how well done it is.
And sometimes it takes a while, like a few patterns or a few repeats, to get into the style of how someone writes their patterns. Even though there's conventions to follow, there are different ways of giving the information out. So when my pattern is available, I'd love any feedback, because I've never written a pattern for somebody else to follow. I just write them for myself, and I just use my own shorthand for that. And so, yeah, I'd be keen on any feedback at all, even if you think it's, not good. What don't you like about it? What's hard to follow? What's confusing? Am I too verbose? Yes, I am.
No, you can never have too much information on a well-written pattern. So you guys are going to be her pattern testers.
Yeah.
In public, across the whole world.
I can see the light shining on my glasses, and every now and then it looks like I've got really big eyeballs. Sorry. And I also seem to be on the lean.
No, I think I am too. I know this chair leans a little bit.
Yeah. So tell us about your one, Robin. I think I've hogged the last 10, 15 minutes.
It's been delightful. So fun. It's so nice to have, it's always so much nicer to have somebody else on these things. So mine is going to be crochet, for those of you who don't use the needles. As Dana would say, for those of you that don't speak Klingon, again, my very first creation, and talk about changing horses midstream. I got all the way through my first sample, decided I didn't love it, and I wanted to do something entirely different. So that's what I did. And I don't have a finished product like she does. I did a couple of samples in a couple of different weights so I could come up with what I liked. And I'm doing mine in DK. And I did not have the yarn I was going to use until last night. So I just picked up yarn I had around the house and tried it in some different yarns to see what I thought. So this is a sample, and you can't really see.
So pretty. It's pretty. I like that.
It's a very simple, it's not simple, but I'm going to say it's basic. If you can do a double crochet, you can do this. It's got, I was going to say single crochet, but now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't. It's got double crochet, half double crochet, chains. Is that it?
Well, that's
Yeah,
basically all crochet is, a combination of those.
Yeah, that's it. Those are the 3 stitches you need to know. Double crochet, half double crochet, and chain. So that's it. Those are the stitches you need to know to make this. And this stitch here in this panel here is an iris stitch. Super, super easy. I will probably not be doing a tutorial video. Miss Cheryl might do a tutorial video for the iris stitch for us, but
Maybe.
I might give it a go.
Give it a go.
I'll give it a go.
I'm going to be busy with all the knitting ones.
Yeah. So I am using, this was with a DK weight, and I really like the way it worked up. Now I'm also worked it up with a little bit of a 4 weight, and I found it was way too heavy, and you can tell the difference in the.
You probably need to go up another hook at least.
Yeah. And also this particular worsted is quite thick. It's a heavy worsted. That one I used was the Red Heart with Love, but I also wanted to see what it looked like. This one is, a patterned yarn compared to, and this isn't exactly a solid because this is actually the mandala. This is the same yarn I used to make my squares for the hashtag spring square exchange. But it's basically a solid color. And I wanted to see what it looked like done differently. Now, with mine, it's a rectangle, it's crochet, but you have some options. Now, I come from a background of mostly crocheting blankets. So for me, the idea of crocheting a shawl the wide way and chaining 250 changes, no big deal. I do it all the time. Okay, Shirley.
Okay. Shirley, I just wanted to say what you said about gauge. You'll be able to do it in a DK weight, and the gauge will work out fine. You can use any weight yarn, any needle size, and just keep going until it's big enough.
Yep. So,
sorry, Rob.
I have started in the actual yarn that I'm going to use, and that's how wide it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So that puts a lot of people off. But for me, I chained 259. No big deal for me. That's how long I want my shawl about 5.5 feet wide. Because I want to be able to wrap this thing around me. And I want mine to be about 24 inches wide.
Wow.
Maybe it'll be 20, maybe it'll be 18. We'll see. There's a lot of give on this thing. We'll see. Now, if I did that big of a shawl with this weight of a yarn, it's going to take some yarn. It's going to take some yardage, but it can be done. It's no big deal. If you don't want to do it wide like that, you can do it the other way. And I know Miss Amber is going to do hers the other way. She's going to make hers like this. She's going to cast on till it's about, she thought maybe 18 inches wide. And then she's going to crochet the long way until it's as long as she wants. And that's a great way to do it too. If you have yarn you want to use up in your stash, if you want to make some stripes and you're not sure, how big you want your stripes to be, that's a great way to do that. I knew I wanted mine this way because for me, it was more important for it to be wide enough to wrap around me, because I have made shawls before that were not wide enough and they're useless. So I started out wide, and then I could make it as tall as I want it to be later. So for me, it was more important to get that width correctly to start with. So I am using, so these are my samples. It's going to be I will write it up And I'll probably just put the written instructions in the description below. It's very 1, 2, 3. It's a 5-row repeat, super, super simple. I might get it officially written as an official pattern and put it on my official page if Cheryl teaches me how. Because I've never done it before either. And when we get to the pattern, it's going to start on, get my date right, it's going to start on May 5th. I'm pretty sure that if that's the Sunday. You won't need a pattern, Jennifer. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it, because you will not need a pattern for this. You'll follow along with us. You will not need a pattern. And Jennifer, this is a great way to learn how to read a very, very simple pattern. That's how you learn to read patterns. Just start with something super simple. Okay, Miss Jennifer, let me ask you this. When you watch somebody's video and they say, do this and this and this, do you jot it down? Do you write it down? You must make some notes for yourself, because you don't sit there with that video running over and over and over the whole time you're crocheting, right? You don't write anything down?
Do you remember it?
You can remember.
I'm amazed.
I can't.
I'm amazed that Crystal can remember all of those patterns just stored up in her head. I have the knit stitch, the purl stitch, and that's about it. And
right, when you're learning, right? But once you have, okay, it's like, okay, I'm going to make this, and we do this, this, and this. You write down what you're going to do, correct? Or do you watch that video over and over and over? I mean, sometimes I have to watch the video when I get to a certain spot or to remember what they did. But even then, I write down what they did, because I'm in the car, I'm in the doctor's office, I'm wherever, and I got to know what to do next. Okay, well, Jennifer, we're going to teach you how then. And this is going to be so simple. This is going to be so bloody simple. So, and that's
always interesting to hear how people remember things and do things, because I always assume people do it the way I do it.
Right.
You know,
right.
Why can't, you can't read a pattern because it's so simple, but it's not. I can't just listen to instructions and do them. I have to read them.
Okay. And then you just go.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So Miss Jennifer, we're going to teach you how to read the simplest of patterns, because this is the simplest of patterns. I mean, it's at this point, I mean, if you can call this a pattern, this is literally it. It's some notes scribbled down on a piece of paper. That's it. That's all it is. And because you're creating this to whatever size you want, I'm not even telling you how many chains to start with. I'm going to tell you the multiple and how to figure that out. Hey, Cindy Lou. And I'm going to tell you.
Hey, Cindy.
Yeah. Hope you were not feeling well, right? Cindy Lou, you were ill? No, Jennifer, you are not dumb. You just have not learned that particular skill.
No, not at all.
And we're just going to teach you. I want everybody to enjoy this process. And this is the way I feel with Cheryl. I'll tell you what, when she says, she shows me something, I'm like, I can't do that. She goes, yes, you can, because I'm going to teach you. And she teaches me. And next thing I know, I've got a new skill. It's when we try to do things and we don't have somebody that we can ask questions of. That's when I fall down. I get stuck and I can't figure it out, and I don't have a resource to go to. That's when I fall down. And that's when I quit doing things. Just so you guys know, because she's not going to toot her horn, but I will. This shawl that she's creating is a precursor to an amazing project that she's creating for us that we're going to be doing next year. And if you are if you're a knitter, if you're a beginning knitter, and if you're an advanced knitter, you're going to love this project.
I hope so.
And she has promised to hold our hand through the whole thing, because I'm terrified. Okay, Jennifer, your mom was a lefty. So am I.
So
and
am I.
never learned everything you learned was from grandma. Okay.
Okay.
I read patterns. I make projects with patterns. I make projects without patterns. This came out of my little head. And I'll tell you what, I struggle a little tiny bit with the ends on this because I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. We can fix anything. It's crochet. It's not rocket science. Once in a
Yes.
while, maybe we add a stitch. Once in a while, we take out a stitch. It will work fine. It'll work
And
fine.
knowing what to do comes with experience. Can I fudge it here? Can I just knit two together because I've got one extra stitch? Can I just increase? Can I, chain two, double crochet two together, sneak in or something here? Oh, I'll do a half double crochet. It's just familiarity. So just doing more. And the more you crochet and the more that you knit, the more confident you become, especially if you try to extend yourself. So if you only ever stuck with chain, you'd have a chain long enough to go around the equator, and that's all you have. You have at some stage, you've got to branch out into a single crochet, and you can live quite happily with a single crochet, I guess. But
you can make washcloths and scarves till the cows come home.
But then if you want a nice lacy shawl or a top for summer, then you need the taller stitches in crochet. So yeah, always be looking for something. There are some of these stitches that I was watching in Arabic. Someone was doing them in Arabic, and the translation was absolutely terrible when you put on auto captions. It was a very pretty stitch, so I had to look at what she was doing. And Europeans, they knit every stitch through the back loop, and they purl every stitch through the back loop, which we don't in the English styles of knitting. We knit through the front and knit through the front and purl through the front of the stitch. And so I was having to do all these mental gymnastics of trying to figure out when was it really a knit in the back loop and when isn't, and that's how I've come up with some of the stitches myself, because it's not exactly what she was showing, and it turned out pretty. Not all of them, some of them were horrible. They're the ones in the garbage bin at the moment. They're sort of, no, I keep those and say, don't do this because it doesn't look nice. So it's just extending yourself all the time. Once you're comfortable doing knit and purl, do some yarn overs, make some holes, purposeful holes.
Oh, I can make holes, all right. I can make holes.
Yeah.
Whether it's supposed to be there or not, I can make holes.
Yes. I enjoy teaching people anything. If I can do it, I have patience. I don't have patience with myself, but I have patience with other people. And my thought is, if I'm telling you how to do it and you can't do it, then I'm not telling you the right way, the way that works for you. So it's up to me then to try and explain it in a different way. And that's how I felt. I've been in educational settings before. And that's what I always find, that it's usually not the person who's learning. It's the teacher who's not finding the right way. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, not at all. And that's, with this knitting, I feel like it's just taken off for me because I finally found a knitting teacher that I can communicate with well. And that has made all the difference with me. And she doesn't make me feel stupid. And she doesn't make me feel like I should be picking this up faster. No matter what I take to her and say, I would like to make this, she's like, you can do that. And she'll look at a pattern and she'll say, okay, you already know how to do this and this, so we just got to teach you this and this. And I just love that of her, because she gives me the confidence to try things that I walk in going, I don't know how to do this.
So I've got this little jar here. It's got some oils in it with sticks. And I think you can see that it's got quite a small opening. And then I've got my cup here that's got a huge opening. Now, when I imagine that the knowledge is going into this, so it just flows into this. The knowledge flows into that. Turn the tap on, it fills up. This one takes a little bit longer to fill up because you've got such a small opening there. But once it's full, just as full as this one is. And I always think if you've got a small opening, it doesn't leak out as fast as if you've got a big opening. I mean, you might learn quickly, but you forget quickly too.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
That's my philosophy. Yeah, it's full. It doesn't matter how long it took. It's full.
Well, and even things like when Cheryl showed us that how to cast on with the crochet hook, a light bulb just went off because even that, talk about, Jennifer, talk about having to look at a video. Every single time I cast on, I would have to go find a video and watch it to see how to do the long tail cast on because I could not remember. In one video, Cheryl shows this one video of how to use, and I keep crochet hook right here for that. She showed me how to use a crochet hook to cast on with the knitting, and it just clicked because it's something I'm used to doing. It's a process I'm used to using, and it just is. It worked. It made sense. And the funny thing is, since I've been doing that, I can now remember how to do the long tail cast on. It was like I had a block there about it.
And there are so many other wonderful wonderful cast-ons as well. My favorite for blankets is the crochet cast-on. If I'm making a wearable, I'll use the cable cast-on. And it's got it's not like a chain. No, I don't think I did it on this one. It's not like a chain. It's more like a spiral type look to it. It's very pretty. It's not as stretchy. So the crochet cast on you can use just about anywhere. The long tail cast on's probably the next most usable one. It's not quite as stretchy as the crochet cast on. And then the knitted cast on, the backward loop cast on.
The knitted cast on is what. Yeah. The knitted cast on is what Linda Simpson, that's the only cast on she ever uses, ever. She said she uses it for every single thing because her father taught her how to knit when she was a little girl, and that's what he taught her, and that's what she does.
I didn't know any other cast on apart from the cable cast on because that's what my grandmother taught me, and until YouTube. And then I thought, what's the long tail cast on? Like, my tail's this long, a bit longer than that. And I use it sometimes, not very often. But the crochet and the cable cast on are my favorites, definitely.
Yeah, I want to learn that cable because I like the knit cast on and I like the crochet cast on. So I'm curious now to learn. I'm curious to learn the cable one now. And for those of you who are going to be doing the knit triangle shawl, there is those of you who have done a triangle shawl before, and I don't know what else you would use this processor because I'm not much of a knitter, but apparently we're starting with something called a tab knit, something like that. Oh
no, I'm not using it. Well, I hate garter tab.
People do with the triangle shawl. And she's going to show us a different way to start that it looks much nicer and is easier to do. So
it is easier to do. It's less involved. I'll show
let me make you big.
See that one there? Okay. Oh, I can't see around. No. I'll get my tail out of the way. Tighten it up a bit. So that's the start there. Only because I don't like the garter tab. I really do not like it. And there's the lady who designed this way. I will link hers in her video for it. Yes, her video in the pattern. It's by Marina from 10 Rows a Day.
Oh yes, I follow her.
it's an alternate way of doing casting on for a garter tab, but you can also do it with a crochet hook, and that's what I will show. I'll show how to do it with a crochet hook
nice.
for the first row.
Okay.
So that won't be breaching any copyright or any, what would you call it? Yeah, any rights.
Won't be stepping on any toes.
No, but it's works out to be the same sort of thing. Yeah.
So with this, if you're going to do the crochet one, I'm suggesting DK. So it's a lightweight shawl. You can certainly use any weight that you want. I'm using the Anthem DK, and of course it's Cascade, and it's beautiful. This is an anti-pilling. It's 100% acrylic, anti-pilling, machine washable. It is 248 yards, machine wash and dry. Like I said, it's out of Seattle, made in India. And I wanted to show you guys, I'm assuming 5 skeins for this. I've done the math over and over and over. And by next week, I will have a better, more solid number for you. Because
same here.
Because I've done my samples with different yarn, but using this yarn, because this is the yarn I'm using, and I'll have a more solid number for you by next week. And I will also be able to show you how quickly this works up. I am using a G 4.0, and I might have even could have gone a little bigger, but I'm liking it. I'm liking this is squishy. This is so nice and squishy. And for this particular project, we're able to offer this at $4.50 a skein.
Ah, good price.
Yeah, that's a good price. And I wanted to show you, I made Mr. bring all these boxes in because I wanted to show you, we have a ton of colors in this. And I wanted to show you some of the colors that we've got available. I'll tell you, when I first was looking at these, I had a totally different color picked out. And then when I pulled this out of the box, I'm like, oh, there's my color. There's my color. And I'm not going to have the exact color names for you. But again, I've got the link in the description box for the Anthem DK. They also have an Anthem worsted. And the Anthem worsted is not on my list. I'll have to find out for you exactly how much the Anthem worsted is. I'll tell you before we're done. But I've got it down below too, so you can look at the Anthem worsted and then also that Pacific. And like I said, the Pacific is $8.50, and that's got the merino wool in it. But I just want to show you some of these gorgeous, gorgeous colors that we have in stock because they're so beautiful. And look at this. Isn't that pretty? If you like a light peach color. And again, I don't have the exact names because I'd have to look the number up on my list. And this is sort of a forest green. And if you like the browns, I think this is called tortoise shell. I'm not 100%. Oh, the lovely purple. So nice. So nice. This one is a darker, more turquoise. This is darker.
I like that.
Than the one I'm using. Yeah, I really like this one. That's darker than the one I'm using. We've got a basic cream color. We've got 2 blues that it's denim something. 2 different kinds of denims. Really pretty. And what have I got over here? Oh, that's the light blue. We've got this light blue. And like I said, I'm sorry.
Looks like a powder blue.
Yeah, I think it's called ice blue, actually.
Ice blue.
I want to say that we've got about 40 colors available. Maybe not quite that many, but darn close. And the specific, oh, I love this. I wish this color. When you guys go onto the site, just look at that. Look at that iris blue. Even if you're not interested, just look at how beautiful it is, because it is just the prettiest color.
So, Robin, were you doing your stitch and chat today as well?
Look at that. I think so.
What time does that start? I thought it used to start at 2:30, was it?
It's
sorry,
usually
it's 2:30 my
close this down. Give myself about 15 minutes to go potty and then do it. There's a salmon, and then a darker one, and here's another green. I think this green was called cactus. And then this. And I'm thinking, if I'm doing my math, if I'm mathing my math right, and again, I'll know much better next week. I think 5 balls is what you're going to want in the DK for this.
Sounds very similar to what it will be for the triangular one.
Yeah, that dark green, Jennifer, that dark green is really pretty. It's a forest green. I'm sure it's called forest. Super pretty. Oh, here, the corner is open, so you can really see that. You can really see how pretty that is.
In Australia, we'd probably call that bottle green.
Yep. But I did put the link right below in the description box, and if you click on it, it should take you right to the DK, right to the Anthem DK, the Anthem worsted, or the Pacific, which has that merino wool in it. And I'm going from memory on that Pacific because I don't have my price sheet with me. I want to say it was $9, but don't quote me on that one. My price sheet, I thought I grabbed my price sheet, but I did not. Oh, no, it wasn't the Pacific. I lied. The Pacific is $8.50. It's the Anthem worsted I don't have the price on. It's the Anthem worsted I don't have my price on. Wait a minute, I might be able to get it in here. Boy, those are nice yarns. Those are really, really nice yarns. So, and we can ship them out. And I think we figured out that 5 of these balls will ship pretty much anywhere in the US for about $8. I think that's what we figured out. Is this
it was either 8 or 10. It was 10 or under.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Nope, wrong one. I'll talk about so many emails. So many emails back and forth. But these people have been super nice to work with. And the reason that we picked them to work with was because they're in the same state we are, so I can get stuff quickly. And they are a family-owned company, which I like that. It's not some big corporation. And I use the yarn, so I know it's a good product. I've used it for a long time.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and anything on their site we can get for you. No, I just absolutely cannot. I've got too much stuff on here. Yeah, so my price sheet's in the house. So yeah, so when we talk about it later on, I'll have that exact price for you. But I'm really thinking it was 9. Too many things. So on next week we'll talk about again. We'll talk about how much farther we are and a little bit more about supplies, and then on where it starts on the 5th of May. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a good price when you've got merino wool in there, and it's a good mix so that it's washable and it's going to hold up. Dang it! Why can't I went right to this yesterday when I was trying to.
So that's in 3 weeks. It will be starting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So that's the Anthem.
Bye, Cindy. I hope you're still pain-free.
It'll be around $6 for the Anthem worsted. If you want it, and because that's the 100% acrylic, anti-pilling. Yeah. $5.75, $6, something like that. So I've got it written down at the shop, the exact price. But again, any color that you want, we can get for you.
I've knit a blanket in anti-pilling and a shawl, and then this shawl as well. And they're the only times I've used anti-pilling. And I've found that it can look a bit fluffy when you're knitting it, because after a while, because you're going back and forth and turning it. And I know the yarn addict was saying, oh, he didn't like the look of the Mona Lisa because it just looked ratty while he was crocheting something. This is a while ago, a few months ago. And I found that it does. Most anti-pillings will look raggedy while especially if you're turning the project and it's a big project. But then you wash it and it comes up perfect.
Fluff does nice.
It all the fluff bits go and I think it's just from the agitation of turning it and it rubbing against you, if it's a blanket, rubbing against your legs and that. So yes, that was the biggest thing I found with anti-pilling. I thought, it looks like it's 10 years old already and I haven't even finished whatever it was I was making. Wash it and it's fine. I do wonder how long they'll last, though, if they've got that, like if they shed their pills before it pills, what is it going to be like Super Saver, where it's still in great condition 30 years, 40 years from now?
Yeah, well, you nothing beats Super Saver. And, they've never claimed they were anti-pilling, and it is not.
Oh, no, and it's not.
But
you can shave it.
Durability, it holds up. Absolutely. And that's what, when we were talking about the Anthem and the Pacific both. They're both very durable. They're both consider that their blanket yarn. So because of the price point and the durability of the yarn. The gal, my rep over there, she says she made a blanket out of this and it's been on her couch for 6 years and it looks as good as the day she made it. So that's good to know. Yeah. Because I was really worried about how this was going to hold up. Because, like with a shawl, you throw it on, you take it off, you throw it on, you take it off, you throw it, over the side of the couch, you grab it, you put it back on. And at least I do. I'm not delicate with my stuff. Not at all.
No. There's one YouTuber, Norman from Nimble Needles, and he'll say, once you've woven in your ends, give it a tug this way and that way and all the ways. Don't be gentle with it, really pull it out. And I thought, he's the first person I've heard say that, because that's what I do.
That's what I do.
I'm not delicate at all with mine.
Because you want it to be right.
And you want it to go through what it goes through in real life. No one's going to delicately take off their shawl and fold it with tissue paper and put it away till the next time they want to use it.
The only two things that gets treated like that, are your wedding dress and a christening gown.
Yes.
So, puppy dog terrorizing the cat. Boy, I know how that goes. So, well, I think,
Yeah.
unless you guys have any more questions, and we are going to be talking about this every week until this thing starts. By next week, I will have much more to show you, and you guys will see how quick this goes. And by next week on the knitting thing, you should be doing, you're going to be working on your diagonal rib. It works up pretty quickly. And to me, it was one more that you've got to just sit there and mark off those rows while you're doing it. And that was really the key on this one. Other than that, I did not have any problems at all with it. So
yes, most of them it's just a matter of counting and getting into the rhythm of the stitch, what the repeat is. I think the next few there are no mistakes in the pattern.
That's good to know. That is,
and I did find, I don't know what weight people are using for their blanket squares. I'm using a DK, and I found that the next square, the tiny triangles, they just didn't show up.
Yeah,
I didn't, and so I substituted it for something else. I made up another one because I wasn't going to go through all of that and to not be able to see the pattern.
Not be able to see it at all. Mine is, it's supposed to be a 4-weight, but it's a pretty light 4-weight. So, and I don't even remember what, I do remember what color it is. It's the, I've got it right here because I grabbed it and have it ready to go. So it's the pumpkin. So that's the color mine's going to be.
Nice. Yeah.
And this is the thicker one. So this is the heavier, this is the nicer 4-weight. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works up. It's going to be interesting to see how that works up because, you know, when I added those two colors, even though it says it's the exact same yarn, it's thinner. It is definitely thinner. I had to go down a needle size, and I have to really pay attention to my, did I go down a needle size or up a needle size? Yeah, I had to go down a needle size and then and make it bigger. Watch my measurements to get it to work out. And I think that's the other reason that all my squares aren't coming out the same.
Yes, you would need to swatch it to see how many stitches fit in that 6 inches.
Yeah.
And new knitters don't know how to do that, and there were no instructions on how to do it.
Yeah, and I did swatch when I started, when I did with the original yarn, but not with my add-on yarn because it was the same yarn, same company, different color.
Yes.
And it is definitely working up different.
And it could even be a different manufacturer. It might have been in between changing from being made in Turkey and being made in India.
Well, and I did notice that there are a lot of, when I first started buying their yarn, it was made in China and now it's made in Turkey. So I think it's nicer yarn now. Because
we had a yarn that was made in Turkey and the company then switched it to India, and the complaints that they've received about it, it's not the same. It's not the same thickness. It's not as durable. It splits more. The only thing that's the same is the name. That's it. I'm fortunate I've got a few 200-gram hanks of it from Turkey. But it was a pretty basic one that it's like a Premier Basics, you know, something that people use a lot. And have a stack of, and then suddenly they've changed it and it's not the same. So yes. Okay.
Well, I think that's it for now.
I think I've done. Yeah, I think I'm done.
And just so you guys know, for Miss Cheryl, it's like 2:00 in the morning, and she's doing this for us. That's how much she loves us. Yeah. So we might, and I was going to ask you about this. We might switch this time frame to something in the evening so that she doesn't have to get up in the middle of the night to come play with us. Yeah.
But you also don't want it where no one, because the majority of viewers would be from the States. So you don't want it
but we
where
could do,
you guys can't.
We could do 7 in the evening. I mean, that's what time we do, you know, when we're doing bingo, we're doing it at 6, 7 in the evening. I don't think it would be a problem at all. I don't think it at all. So
Mm.
we're going to talk about that because I don't want
Okay.
I don't want you having to do this in the middle of the night. She loves us.
I do.
Right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. I have to check my calendar, see what time I have to be to work, and then we'll see if we're going to do a sit and visit. Okay.
Okay.
Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.